Okay, greetings. All right. So this is on the eve of Christmas Eve. I guess 20 minutes will be Christmas Eve. It's pretty exciting. I don't know why I'm anyway reminded by the end of the world, but anyway. So Stonehenge, Tartarian World Reset, and the Philadelphia Experiment and CERN. So we're kind of going through a reset now. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I think we are going into a kind of a renaissance, spiritual. I would say a spiritual renaissance. Maybe there are always stages of it. So yeah, we're going to a world. So we're going through this health crisis, and eventually there'll be a renewal of new energy. Hopefully new technologies. I guess we'll find out. But when this is going to happen is another story. Basically, when things start to evolve like the Renaissance, I can do something on that tomorrow. So there's a thing about Stonehenge being taken down. There's pictures about that. And I saw that about probably a year ago. I didn't really look that deep into it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think on it. But it feels like, yeah, or I did a little bit. I wasn't really doing research on it. Kind of found out on it or about it was moved on purpose. And it probably hasn't been the same since. So it was there throughout history. I think it was. Of course, others might say differently, but I feel like it was there, for who knows? They could have just put up in the 1960s, as far as I know. But I feel like it's been there for a lot longer. But, you never know anymore. Yeah, that's where it gets kind of tricky. But either way, what is there now is probably not as powerful as what was there before. So, and the Tartarians, they're throughout the world, and they got world reset, and they got removed from reality. So, just a lot of strange, like San Francisco. There's a lot of there's people are going through old photographs and saying things aren't adding up. Let's put it that way. So things aren't, you have a city, and there's like nobody in the city. It's like empty. They're building all these buildings and everything, and we probably can't even do that nowadays. So it's just kind of strange there. So, but the Philadelphia experiment and the CERN energy, I feel like that has a lot to do with how they're shifting reality. So, I believe the Philadelphia experiment did happen, and some kind of energy is still going on today. Of course, you can't prove anything, but it's the vibration of doing all kinds of stuff they shouldn't be doing. Yes, messing with timelines and messing with our minds, our bodies, or everything. So, throughout. When did they start this? Since big after Atlantis, before Atlantis, something like that. They've been doing it forever. So, yeah, that's why we're seeing multiple timelines. That's why it's hard to see the future, because they don't want us to see the future. It doesn't mean it's all a Philadelphia experiment and CERN, but either way, it's similar technologies. So if we're going to get some understanding of all this, it's another story. It's hard to say. It's all a big mystery. So, but there's some people out there, which I understand, they see these buildings, and we can't do that stuff today or nothing like it. They're just not buying on anything anymore. I don't blame them. I don't trust anything. So, always what the official story is. As I'm told at Comic Prep sessions, maybe. I don't know if my browser is slow or what's something slow. Scheduler here at shop. I'm on this. I'm on December 8th, if anybody's wondering. 7th, 8th. I was just starting December. December is on its way out. Same situation here. Webinar sign up, social network, and behind the scenes. And you've probably seen this stuff before. Not that. Stonehenge, where they're putting it together. So I believe they just took it apart and put it back together, but who knows? I believe it was there before, but the way history is being altered and everything is really hard to say anymore. But then we have, I think I showed this before, the Capitol buildings in the United States are a little, I don't know, bizarre, to say the least. It's like, does that look like a cult of some kind? It doesn't look normal, whatever normal means, but it's like showing up. But anyway, it's just a little odd overall. Yeah, it's another shot of it. Of course, the Capitol building in California. Washington State and California. I feel like that was a possible, the state, the capital, of the United States. So, like the District of Columbia was supposed to be, and the way this is, I mean, there are realities where California is, the capital of the United States, so, or whatever you call it. Yeah. So, the Washington D.C. of United States. So it just seems like, I mean, it looks just like practically like the Capitol building in Washington D.C. So it's a little odd there. So it also had the World's Fair. So I guess they built all this stuff and then they tore it all down, which is kind of strange. I mean, it's just, I don't know. They're just not telling us the full story of anything. So it is a little odd. Why build all this stuff and then tear it down? And this is a San Francisco World's Fair. It's just a little some things aren't adding up. So anyway, the City Hall, and that's City Hall of what is it, San Francisco, and that's some City Hall. So yeah, it's like the elites are showing us something. It's like, yeah, I guess you have to join a secret society to get some input on all of this. So definitely some kind of reset. It's like a reset every 30 years. Always a major one. At least that's the vibe I'm getting. Of course, that could mean anything. Stonehenge is a little, so. But I believe Stonehenge was there for a long time, but what do I know? The way things are being shifted, I mean, the timeline we're on, it feels like this timeline is a broader timeline. Like this timeline has been going on for a long time somewhere in some kind of reality. I know it sounds a little bizarre, but it's like this timeline always existed somewhere, and now we're on it. Of course, we've been on it for some time now. I mean, you have the pyramids as a past and all that, and that's great and everything, but you're on this kind of prison timeline. Of course, it's always been a prison timeline, but this one seems to be a little bit different. So, if that means anything. So, all right. Connect to Stonehenge. Wizard energies, Merlin vibrations. I have to say you're going to get an answer, but like it's been here forever. Well, in some reality, it's been there for a long time. So I would say it was tampered with, obviously. So it doesn't give off the energy that it had in the past. Yeah, I mean, this man doesn't have energy connected to it, but there's just something else going on. It's just a mystery, but there are other versions of Earth. I mean, that's why they use these technologies and astral, but also here to move us to another version of Earth, which is kind of fucked up. But I know it sounds like it's pretty out there, but oh well. All right, do Stonehenge, Tartarians, and Philadelphia experiment. So yeah, expect Strange to come through. So all right, blessings. Yeah, definitely, obviously around Stonehenge, a lot of magic energy, of course. Portals opening, different timelines, Agarthian energies there. So at least the vibe I'm getting from that is it kind of calmed down when they moved it and put it back or whatever they did. Looks like that's what they did. They didn't put it back obviously the same as it was before. At least the energy isn't the same. Like think of it as like closing a portal that was once open, like the portal to Agartha. At least the energy from it it's not as strong as it used to be for sure. It doesn't mean it doesn't have energies, but it's just, yeah, it's all just a big mystery. So, all right, here we go, blessings. Here we go. Greetings. We are the wizards from Agartha. Your planet it stepped down from its higher dimensional energies of the past as it became more industrialized. You can say it became more fake as it is today. At least the humans of your past were more telepathic, a simpler reality, but also advanced in many ways. Especially when you look at some of your, well, Benjamin Franklin is a good example. He may be elitist, psychotic, yes, but also an inventor, and he had many titles, and psychotic was one of them. But there's many Renaissance people of your past. Of course, history does not write them down for obvious reasons because they don't want you to remember your past. I want the 1800s to be a mystery. Yes, there are some knowledge of course, but the full knowledge and before that is mostly hidden. Yes, there was a lot of hidden technologies there, but I'm not going to tell you about it. So yeah, it's not the easiest vibration to tap into. Basically, it's just knowing yourself. If you want to tap into the past and see what type of realities you feel like you're connected to, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it does not fit into the story, the main narrative of your reality that's here now, the main timeline. The main timeline obviously is corrupt and want to forget and want to be a consumer, programmed into all societies, all of everything. Just basically wants you to be a human robot to keep the machine going. So tapping into other realities and questioning the main story is healthy. You can't prove a lot, but it does also, if your heart chakra, if your being feels more aligned to an alternative history, we say to continue with that. They don't want you to figure yourselves out, as you can see. That's why they made mainstream spirituality as a control mechanism to some degree. But also, of course, other control mechanisms. Your normal people to keep the main, they're basically embedded into the main timeline itself. And they do have a certain sound to keep it going, a vibration. So Stonehenge energy is a protector, but also can be altered. It's basically put there to shift your dimensions as it's doing your reality. And there's other places that have been forgotten that are buried. The pyramid technology is very Atlantean. At least it became that way. Of basically starting a lot of this. Eventually it become more known. Yes, pyramid technology was used for positive but also negative. And basically, that alters your reality currently today. And there's also a Martian element to some of these pyramid technologies here. Basically, aggressive being that shut down your Earth's vibration, kind of just shut down your Earth's chakras. Yes, discovering the inner Martian is going to be difficult for some. That's going to be a little bit heavy for some to remember because memories of a Martian invasion will eventually be remembered. Invaders from other worlds, not just Mars, but Mars is one of the heavy ones here. They did everything they could to shut this place down. Well, they polluted their planet and then came here. You can say one version of the story is it destroyed their world purposely so they can have somewhere else to go, which is here. So, I mean, for some of you that are intuitive connecting a Martian manipulation doesn't sound like it's all incorrect. There is something else going on here. There's many layers, but there are layers here that obviously make it difficult for it to be discovered. The Stonehenge energies are there to, yes, connect you to the higher frequencies, and you can heal the Stonehenge vibrations. Yes, there's a lot of elf people there. The elf people, they're physically, of course, they don't have little pointy ears, but they're there to preserve what is allowed to be here. I mean, this reality now is an Earth experiment that's, you can say, has gone too far. Of course, that's happened in the past. It's gone a little bit further than it should. Basically, the timeline of manipulation that's happening now. Well, at least in the past, humans are able to tap into their abilities and at least state that they see things differently. They have an intuition of reality not the same. But here, of course, back then, yes, they had a lot of control, as you know, of, well, you spoke your mind out loud. Obviously, if you didn't go towards the narrative, you were gone. But overall, you can still speak your mind. Just be careful what you're telling. But in this reality, the mind has been shut down completely. Well, where you can connect to alternative realities, but obviously, if you're a conspiracy theorist that in a panic mode, you are promoted. But if you're not, and you want to think, is this? They're making it difficult for the mind to look at alternative realities, as many of you are starting to do, but still kind of fuzzy. In the past, they can actually see it more clearly. Meaning, like someone like Galileo, yes, can look to the stars and figure out how the universe works, at least on a level that he was working on. But also intuitively, he knew. So, but others knew also. They can just feel it. They just know that the Earth surrounds, goes around the sun and so on. And some of you have been those people in your past. Like you might not be a Galileo of popularity, but your intuition can tap into the same energy that he was tapping into. Some of you have been those people. And yes, you spoke your word, and eventually it was part of a myth throughout society. And eventually confirmed over time. A few hundred years, of course. So, blessings. Greetings, you. We are the Tartarians. Yes, we are. Yes, a mystery race. Not necessarily a race completely, because some of you are tapping into our energies. Yes, our time on your Earth is similar to like Atlantis, a mystery. But some of you can feel our vibrations. You feel that you're a part of our society, our realms. And yes, we've been quiet. We don't really speak too much. Some of it channel our energies, but it's basically finding the knowledge within yourself. Yes, some of you have been, yes, in the Americas. Our energies are all throughout the world, actually. Mostly Asia, but it's basically to describe us as an advanced race, similar to, we are, you can say we are the beings that, because we've been around for forever. It's just we were erased from your modern times. We're energies that assisted, you can say, without taking full credit, Jericho, Jerusalem, the temple, the temple that's very popular. We don't have the name at this time, but a lot of Jewish, relics we were involved with. But of course, we were involved with many other things too. Rome, in a certain, not entirely, but that was more Masonic energies, but some of that was Tartarian. Your churches, your cathedrals were basically, yes, still cathedrals. They were worship, but many of them were made for the elite to worship the sun, the universe, like a power station, yes. A power station that creates your reality. So there were also Tartarians that weren't exactly the most positive beings either. Yes, basically magicians that were architects at the same time. Yes, buildings that can speak to the dead, buildings that can open up the lower realms, in which many of your cathedrals do so. So even some of the hymns that they sing is open up the lower realms, literally opening them up as they sing, as you talk. It's just a spell on your Sunday morning. So yes, they built the churches for the people, but it had to be synchronized in the beginning. I mean, people weren't allowed to go there first. It had to be firstly, the intention had to be put to it first. And when they started inviting people into it for worship services, that's when most of the darkness opened up. So yes, you can go to Sunday school and open up the lower astral, which is happening now currently. Well, how do you know? Through the fear of going to hell, that you're a sinner, all this. This is all just feeding, and people believe it. So these beings just feed off of them. It's like welcoming darkness onto themselves. So, and demonic beings have been seen in the past. You say also the churches had to do with keeping them cloaked, keeping demonic beings hidden. So, keeping the lower astral in secret. So, you're here to turn that around. Not easily, of course. First, you have to figure yourselves out, and then the earth will follow you when the time is right. It will get more interesting here. Some are finding like, where is the world going? But there is still a lot of soul. The individual has to be ready for what's to come. Some might feel they're ready, but can you handle the stress of the future, of your belief system, but also because many are going to test your beliefs. And it's like, I'm just going to go hide instead, which we understand why. But this is a heavy road your world is going into. Basically, acknowledging spiritual belief systems again, as you believe them, which is parallel reality, is multi-dimensions, everything, everything outside of what they're being taught here. No more history books. We can have history books, but we have multiple history books of all these different histories, of timeline books, everything. Just more of an open reality instead of a closed narrative. Because when they close down history, they close down the human, where you can't connect. So you get depressed. You feel like you're not being yourself. because they're not talking about the other planets in the universe as they could be. Channel knowledge, but also it's memories. It's channeled information, but it's just you remembering yourself. Not easy, as you can see. Well, it will become you just right now because it's not part of your mainstream thinking. Greetings, rather Arturians. Greetings. Oh, yes, your Philadelphia experiment and the CERN technologies. CERN is actually shifting your Earth to a parallel Earth, a controlled Earth, because there are many worlds that are under a major dictatorship. So CERN is used to tune you in your planet into those realms just enough. So this world is under a dictatorship, but not really seen as like an entire world takeover. It's here, but it's hidden. You still can function here, sort of. So it tunes into other realities. The Philadelphia experiment basically is just, it's more of an experiment on your reality altogether. to do some of these experiments, you can have a person here and one day, and then all of a sudden they're gone. But usually they can become a missing person or just die, whatever it might be, because a new timeline came in. And some of these experiments have to do with that. So you can blame the government. It's a higher entity than government, but you can use whatever. Yes, and some of you will get visions of these type of how this is all working. Terrified for some. Some of you already knew. You just can't remember. Some of you, yes. Similar to like the movies. The movies are giving you a little insight to other versions of Earth of how these things work. It's like other versions of Earth are even trying to talk to you. But it is also showing your world is tapping into other realities just to keep the cloak on your planet. Just like they actually want to make it worse, obviously. Well, they are in some ways, but they can't make it too obvious. So yes, it's going to become more science fiction eventually. Well, as you start to realize how phony your reality is, but it's at a level that some can't imagine it. They say it's all fake, and there is some realistic stuff here, of course. But tapping into your timelines, it's not the easiest thing either. To tap into what the true timeline of this world is, basically just go by your own belief systems of how you think the world should be. See, why you came here, you're just basically here to seed the earth with your energy so these manipulations can finally be seen. And it can be kind of heavy. Doesn't mean it's going to happen all at once, or it'll happen little by little because it's a little bit heavy for something to handle overall. But as you bring your belief systems here, the earth begins to allow more of this to unravel. But once again, it's not going to be easy. The Matrix kind of does it to a certain extent, but not to full extent. The Matrix movies, not exactly. It's not really going into the detail as it could. There's just a change in structure into your new year. Your new year is basically unraveling the hidden. Maybe not all at once, little by little, but within yourselves, you feel there's a bigger picture coming. But you might be part of it. That's why you're feeling it. Or always assisting it. You might not be the main attraction, but you're assisting it to occur. And the Renaissance frequencies, it's actually been happening for some time, but it's this early Renaissance. And you can see that with your space technologies happening. Even delivery systems, like you order something, it gets delivered quickly. That's kind of a space age type of thing, technically. Some of you can move to the moon if you want to one day and get your packages mailed there. It's not inhabitable at this point, but we do see moon colonies eventually. Of course, eventually. We don't have a timeline for that, but you're on the moon and you get Federal Express packages, things like that. Those timelines do exist, but if they're going to allow it here in your reality is a whole nother story. But just knowing your inner truth, which isn't the easiest because much of your inner truth has been erased. As you can see, you incarnate here with, the contract here was to forget as you incarnate. It's like you're here to assist, but you forget how you're here to help. It's like one thing, you go on a mission, but then you have your mind erased of your mission. So, okay, I'm on this planet. What am I supposed to do exactly? But the mission is to remember it. But don't feel pressured. If you're not remembering, don't get depressed over that. You will figure it out. It's not always supposed to evolve completely. It's supposed to be, little increments of it. Well, because you're doing your own lessons too. I mean, you're in a world where you forget everything. I mean, how many souls really want to sign up for a world like that? Especially when most of society is against how you believe, unless you're part of indoctrination here, which is very similar to A Brave New World. Is pieces of it. 1984, there's pieces of that. It's not going to be exactly like the books because they don't want to just like, oh, wait, this is our world. They want to make it a little bit different, but still has the same elements that's here. So, the Brave New World, your fashion, those fashion designers and all of that, for your higher elites, they're kind of dressed up like that in some ways. Your higher elite are the ones that wear all the nicer clothes, but also their style has the energy of controlling your reality. I know it sounds a little strange, but it's more the Brave New World, the story, the book is more about the elites. Of course, it's about average people too, but it is about the elites, how they run everything to a certain extent. They don't give it full clearing of that. So, all right. For your Philadelphia experiment, basically, that's why they call it an experiment. They don't always know it's going to work, and that's why your world gets kind of strange. The Mandela effect occurs. You think they have it all figured out, not necessarily. CERN has a specific vibration. It knows what it's doing. It's always calculating to other versions of Earth. Some might see differently. Obviously, in the physical reality, it looks like it's doing something different, but on an astral level, that's what it's doing. It's just clocking in slowly, hidden, for you to evolve into these, to keep your world in prison, basically. So dictator worlds are bringing their DNA here with their ideas. And your news corporations are showing a type of a dictatorship there. Yes, sellouts. Major sellouts. And they know it. They know they're selling it. They don't care. That makes it even more bizarre. It's one thing if you do not know, and some don't, but most do, and they don't care. So, all right, sending you energies into this new oasis you're going into. Blessings.